Watch. Dan Perry, managing partner at PR firm Thunder 11 and former Associated Press bureau chief in Jerusalem, joining us. Good morning, Dan. I want to get to this hostage rescue by Israel. First, we've learned that one of the IDF soldiers was killed in an attempt there, but we saw the release of 2 American hostages freed, a mother and daughter, over the weekend. Does that change anything?
No, I think the Israelis figure that the Hamas, with the assistance of the Qataris, are basically playing games and psychological warfare. By releasing Americans, that has the effect of getting the Americans to, in hopes of having the release of more Americans happen, pressure the Israelis to put off various action. I mean, if they were serious about releasing the hostages, they'd release the hostages. So it doesn't, I don't think, change the fundamental landscape that we see. That Israel has essentially decided to, one way or another, wipe out Hamas in Gaza because what happened cannot be allowed to stand. And despite that resolution, it has really no good options. So whatever it does, it's going to bring upon itself criticism. It's probably going to cause civilian casualties in Gaza that it does not wish to cause. And basically, the situation is hugely messy. It was 2 weeks ago, and it remains so today.
Yeah, and there are still a couple of hundred people minimum in Hamas captivity. There are reports the U.S. Yes, and we just heard from Lindsey Graham, but there are reports out that the U.S. is considering getting involved because of Hezbollah's attack on Israel.
Well, yeah.
What are you hearing?
I mean, the U.S. is involved in one way or another as Israel's primary backer, as having carrier groups stationed outside the just off the coast, as having a whole series of interests, including its various bases in the region, the Persian Gulf, to not have a contagion happen and the war spread. So whereas Hamas potentially acts independently on occasion, Hezbollah doesn't. If Hezbollah attacks Israel, and currently it's testing the waters with low-grade aggression, then that comes from Iran. And there is an effort, a multi-pronged effort, the most public of which we saw just now from Lindsey Graham, to deliver the message to Iran that they cannot do this with impunity.
Israeli rocket fire did hit Syrian airports, we know, Sunday, halting the arrival of some shipments from Iran, more weaponry. And then, of course, we've been seeing those strikes from Lebanon. But in terms of the media coverage, we're seeing these devastating images of children in Gaza bloodied from Israeli missile strikes. The Daily Mail happened to report that Hamas is still hiding launch sites between and beside schools, including a kindergarten. From your perspective, have media outlets been reporting the whole story?
I used to be the Middle East editor of AP. I was in charge of the coverage out of Gaza. I face the same criticism. I can tell you it isn't easy. I can tell you reporters on the ground, Palestinian Gazan reporters on the ground, who are living in a police state and have all kinds of pressures on them, are heroes, nothing less than that. That said, I do think the global media, to be true to its status as a public good, if it really wants to report the first draft of history and not propaganda, does need to treat with more skepticism any numbers or any narrative coming out of Gaza. Since it is safe to say the territory is ruled by a brutal and nihilistic organization that, given that it's clearly capable of raping and torturing and burning to death children, probably is not above lying to journalists. And that needs to be factored in a way that is, I think, perhaps more profound than we have seen from some major news organizations.
And we're still seeing those images. You can't deny the blood. You can't deny the violence. And at the same time, knowing that Hamas is using these civilians as human shields, it's not the first time.
I really don't envy the decision makers, because there are no good options. Israel could hold off and do nothing. And, various parties have advised that Israel seek other options. I myself have written op-eds suggesting there are options to a ground invasion. That said, I don't think that we can expect the Israelis to tolerate the continuation of what had been the status quo ante until October 7th. And I do think that they are trying to minimize civilian casualties. I realize that's no consolation to the people who are affected. I have friends who are affected, and the whole thing is a horrible calamity. I can only say that if they do succeed in replacing Hamas with a rational government in Gaza, that will be a favor, first and foremost, to the unfortunate people of Gaza.
Dan Perry, we appreciate you joining us. And again, our best to you and your family living there in Israel.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.